Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions. Right course. You mentioned earlier before we got started that, all people have to do is kind of point you in the right direction and you just go. Right? That's exactly what my grandfather, who was the biggest influence in my life, that's what he used to tell people. And it was a way for him to brag about me. He's like, you just point him in that direction and he just goes until you tell him to stop. Right? He's like a steam engine. And, that's a big, big deal in what we do. We have a responsibility as men. We have a responsibility as believers. We have a responsibility as fathers, right, to share. And to pay it forward. It's a big, big deal. So what you're doing is huge, dude.
So, 100%. And the funny thing is, it's important for people to realize, growing up, there's one person that probably, you asked me who the most influential person was in my life growing up. That was my father. Right. But at a certain point, I had to not rely on him.
Right.
And most people have one person in their life that they rely on, whether it's their grandma or their grandpa or their dad or even a friend. Yeah. When I stopped working for my dad, it was a huge turning point. I no longer was able to use. I was, but we're so different at this time.
Yeah, it was.
I wasn't able to utilize my dad's network to pull me or help me or guide me or push me with certain things. Right. I had to create my own at that time. So I had to find all new people outside of my dad that were going to help me get to where I wanted to go. Yeah. And part of that was the camaraderie at Berkshire Hathaway.
It's a good company. It really is.
So I'll go back to, when I built that barn, I ran out of money completely because I thought I was going to do it for 30 grand. I spent the 30 grand already. It was gone. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to sell it. And I detailed for this guy named Gil Martin, and he owns a huge furniture company. And he's done very well for himself, a hardworking guy. His story is absolutely insane. But I went to his house. I was cleaning his car. I was always reliable to him, and he knew me. I was like family to him, and I just was upset one day, and he could tell. And he's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, I got to sell that barn." He knew what I did. He knew the sacrifice. And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I ran out of money. I thought I was going to be able to do it. I have nothing. I'm gonna freaking rent or something. I don't know what to do." He's like, "How much do you need?" I'm like, "Honestly, my dad thinks I need 80 grand. That dude wrote me a check for $60,000 that day.
Wow.
That day.
Wow.
That day, he wrote me a check.
This is a guy who you've been detailing cars for.
Dude, he was spending $25 to wash a car, $30 to wash a truck. I wasn't making a lot of money off him. Right. You know what I mean? And he just knew me. He knew he met me when I was 18, so he watched me all the way up until this point. He knew how hard the worker is. He pulled me over on the side of the road. I thought he was road raging me, but he pulled me over, and I thought I was going to get into a fight with this guy, and I ended up pulling over to do. And he got out super nice because he was like, "Oh, I saw your detail trailer." I'm like, "Oh, thank God."
Yeah.
And I ended up, the rest is history, but I ended up detailing his cars. And when I was in need, that guy didn't even bat an eye. He was just like, "Here you go."
You proved yourself.
Yeah, I wrote we made this little agreement, and that was it. He helped me through that.
So that's what I'm talking about. That's an example of paying it forward. Right? Somebody has a need. Somebody's in your case, hit a roadblock, right? Like you hit a brick wall, and you're frustrated and you're feeling like there's no option and that kind of thing, right? And here you've been out there dutifully taking care of him and his cars all these years, proving yourself to him, not even realizing that was exactly what you were doing, right? You didn't know that was something he was willing to do. That, no way, right? Dude writes you a check,
and that
all of a sudden you're on your way.
And that leads into where we are today, right? That one action somebody did to me in my life, Now I'm just like, I'll pay it forward to whoever needs it. It's just what we do. That's why I said, like, if somebody in real estate called me like, hey, can I call you? Can I pick your brain? I need to know where to start. Yeah. 100%. I don't care which direction you go. I'll tell you, like, the first thing I tell everybody is like, this is a really hard thing to do. Just so you know. Like, it looks really nice and shiny on Instagram. Everybody does a good job on Instagram, but the reality behind it is like, there's a lot of stress involved. You may not be put through the same, series of tests that I did in the beginning because I had so many other responsibilities, but just plan to grind harder than you've ever grown.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And be ready for the emotional turmoil, right? Because it's hard. It's hard when you're talking about emotions. It's hard when you're talking about stress. It's hard to try to enumerate that to somebody, right? I mean, you might be a communications, you have a bachelor's degree in communications, right? The thing is, even having that, it's still hard to communicate to somebody, this is what you're going to go through. You're going to struggle. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have things that you're going to question your own ability, right? There are going to be times when you're just going to sit there and go, is this really what I want to do for a living, right? And that's kind of where that mic time thing I was telling you about before, that's where that mic time thing came from. Agents that used to work for us at Keller Williams, pick up the phone and call me every once in a while. They're like, I just need 5 minutes of mic time.
Yeah.
Can I just get 5 minutes? Sure.
Yeah.
Right? The
100%.
world and the industry and everything just beat them up, right? And they're like, we just need we just need somebody that we can talk to that we know is going to be positive. Well, they know I'm going to be, right? Because it doesn't matter what's happening in my life. I look hard enough because I believe that's one of God's gifts that he gave me. I look hard enough and I find something positive. I know for a fact that if you look hard enough, you'll find something positive in any situation. Doesn't matter what it is.
I agree with that 100%. I mean, you got to live by that.
It doesn't matter what it is. So Berkshire Hathaway, you're there for how many years?
6 years.
Right.
Almost 7 years.
Right. And then you leave there and you go to EXP.
Go to EXP.
Okay. I'm with EXP, by the way, full disclosure.
Okay.
So tell me why EXP.
I needed something. I was kind of like that fish outgrowing that fishbowl at Berkshire.
Yeah.
I'd already been the highest producer in
Big
the
fish,
office.
tiny pond.
Yeah, and not to say that those people weren't still good for me, but I was exceeding the level that they were producing at the time.
I've been there.
Which
I've outgrown the company.
And they're all really, really good agents. They're really good. But
it's a good organization.
And they all want to
I
be
still
like,
have friends there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the agents I was friends with, they're good selling 30, 40 houses a year because that's a good paycheck. I want to sell 150 houses a year. That's what I still am today, pushing towards. And it's going to probably take me 20 years to get there. Because anybody that I've seen do that type of business in San Diego specifically, they've been doing it for 30 years, 20 years. And I know that's cool. I'm a slow growth guy. It's good. So when I was at EXP, I met, or not EXP, I was at Berkshire. I had met Kyle Whistle a series of times.
Yep. I know Kyle well.
Just talked to him, you know what I mean? And, I wasn't into working for him. And at one point he was trying to get me to be on his team and be a team member. And I totally uninterested me and turned me off in the very beginning of EXP. Well, then I circled back to him and we talked about other forms of EXP, like coming on and doing my own thing. And then, being part of that Fast Forward group. And what really attracted me was that Fast Forward movement group was something that I was missing at Berkshire Hathaway. It was a mastermind group. Yeah. And where all of these agents, some top, some not, come together and they are all willing to give you their playbooks. How did you make it? How did you do this? How did you convert this lead? How did you get this lead? And so that was,
eye-opening.
People at other brokerages were stingy.
Yeah.
They did not want you to be the best.
Yeah, they kept their doors closed.
They want to stay at the top of the list.
Yeah.
Dude, EXP, the people at EXP that I realized when I met with him, like, holy cow, they say sky's the limit. It's because as we grow, they grow.
Right.
So, if I grow past them, they're going to do better.
Yeah.
If, you know what I mean? Because it just, I don't know. There's a lot of good that came out of it.
It really is.
It has nothing to do with the stock or the rev share. Right? It literally had everything to do with the group, the camaraderie, being able to listen to all these people grow and watch, and it's an open book. Yeah.
And the energy is different. Like just now, you were talking about Berkshire Hathaway, and they're all, you know, the great people who still have friends there, the whole thing. But then you start talking about EXP, and you perk up.
Yeah.
People saw this. I guarantee you, if they're watching and listening, they heard it and they saw it. There's a different energy with EXP than there is with just about any other real estate company out there, I believe. And I know Glenn Sanford. I met Glenn Sanford back when he was a team leader at the Bellingham, Washington office for Keller Williams. That's how long I've been around, right? I probably should have retired me a long time ago. But I met him in Austin, Texas at Mega Agent Camp. And, you know, he's a nice guy, articulate, the whole thing, kind of a little shy, to be honest with you, but, you know, a good guy, right? Turns out EXP is actually a model that he took to Gary Keller, and Gary Keller said it won't work. No, I'm not doing it. It won't work. He literally brought it to Gary Keller and said, this is the future of real estate. I'm giving it to you. You should make this part of the Keller Williams business model. And Keller refused.
I'm
and
telling you
after
right
he
now,
refused, Sanford went out and started the company.
There's a huge stereotype for the agents at EXP too. Like, oh, we're all just recruiters. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, I'm a producer. Like, all I do is sell houses. Yeah. I do not recruit. It's not, I don't make any money off recruiting. I don't ask agents. I don't pitch EXP, you know. I literally joined EXP just to take advantage of the knowledge that I was gaining.
Well, you know, here's the thing about recruiters. So yes, we have a reputation. That's correct. I totally agree with that. I got that reputation when I was at Keller Williams. Okay, I had close to 200 agents in my office at any given time at Keller Williams and Escondido. And when I would walk into a room that had competitors in that room, like an association event or something, you know, one of the very first things they would do when I darkened the doorway is they would make an announcement. Just a reminder, there's no recruiting here today. They do that because I'm walking in the door, right? Instead of, hey, Mike, welcome. We'd love to have you. You know, great to see you, you know, whatever, right? They literally, when I darkened the doorway, they make that announcement. I took great pride in it. Here's the thing. Even the biggest recruiters, and I'm not joking when I tell you this, I interviewed Rob Flick the other day. Rob Flick has tens of thousands of people in his rev share tree. He has tens of thousands of people in his profit share tree back at Keller Williams still, okay? But if you talk to Rob Flick, and his podcast is available on our podcast, if you talk to Rob Flick, it's not about the recruiting part. He's a recruiter, and he recruits like crazy, but it's not about that. It's about giving back. This is a guy who went to Coronado High School in Phoenix, Scottsdale area, okay, graduated from there, went back after all of his success, and literally donated $1 million in EXP stock to Coronado High School so that they could then do scholarships for kids that can't afford to go to college.
It's crazy.
Okay? I'm serious. You start looking, it's just like what I was saying. You look hard enough at any situation, I don't care what it is, you'll find the positive. So even people that have this idea that we're recruiters, if they look hard enough, they'll see the good that comes from it. I'm not joking.
It's like, to be honest with you, I got all tied into Christianity. It's like, it's selfish for me not to share with you the goodness of God.
Exactly.
It is selfish for me to not share with you what I have gained from joining EXP.
Right.
I don't care if you come or not.
Right.
I don't care. It's like, me telling you about Jesus and what he's done for me, if you don't come, that's your choice. It's okay.
Exactly.
I'm not doing it to be pushy.
Right.
But when it comes to EXP and from a business standpoint, like, I am not trying to get you to make a decision because it's benefiting me.
Right.
I see that it will benefit you because it did for me.
Right.
You know, like I spent $200,000 at the last brokerage I was at a year with our team's production. Mm-hmm. I go to EXP, I spend $23,000 max out of pocket.
Right.
Done. That's if you icon status out.
Right.
Do you know how much money that left me with?
Right.
The reason why I own this building is because I can afford having it and having the overhead of it, because I had left over $200,000
right,
or $150,000 from my last broker,
right,
that I was losing for having an office and some marketing material, which I have a ton of marketing material that I built out for my own business that now I don't need it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really don't need it. People who are at these big brokerages, just take a look at what you're getting offered. Mm-hmm. Break it down by cost, what your upfront cost would be to do it, and then take away how much you're paying in your brokerage fees and see what kind of real estate they can buy.
Yeah, it's a business decision.
Yeah.
Right? So now that you brought up the building that we're in, let's talk about this for a second.
Okay.
Tell the story, you already did, off camera, off air, but tell the story about this building. Tell the story about this complex, because this is cool. So we're in just full disclosure, we're in Alpine, California, at your office in Alpine. It's Alpine Boulevard, right? Yeah, town.
Alpine Boulevard.
Alpine Boulevard. So we're on Alpine Boulevard, just take the tavern exit, sorry. But Alpine has a particular, if you get a chance, Google Alpine, California. But here's the thing. Alpine has a particular appeal to it. It's kind of like Julian, right? It has this sort of old school, old time, appeal to it. It has a charm to it that's really cool. And what you did was you took this property that really was kind of dilapidated and turned it into a show place. And it has all of the same running themes of Alpine, California, right? It fits right into the community perfectly. And it was your opportunity to sort of bring up this area to an extent and improve it. So talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't even realize how much of an impact it was going to be until I did it, right? And I was scared to even do it because I was stuck in this little box, being at Berkshire, because I had my own office there. And then when I left EXP, I quickly realized, like, hey, I'm kind of responsible for some of the team players that decided to join real estate under me.
Right.
And I was telling everybody, dude, you guys got to work from home until I figure this out,
right.
And so when I worked at Berkshire, I had this office for sale. It was an escrow. It fell out. Boom, fell off the market. Lost the listing. When I went to EXP, I was working from home and I was a little too scared. I was looking for places to rent. And then I remembered, okay, I had this property for sale. I went back to the seller and said, what kind of deal can we work out if I buy it, And I had to sit on it because I was scared to make that investment. Like, I was scared. I was never taught to get out of my box. So I called a couple of the EXP players. I'm like, dude, is this a good play move? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, this is nothing I even thought about at the last brokerage. They're like, 100% do it. 100% do it. I'm like, okay, well, that means I need to get $200,000, which, that'll drain me out pretty quick. So at the time, I had a lot of equity in my house, and I just pulled $200,000 out of my house. I said, screw it, we're going to buy it. Mm-hmm. So right now, this property has 4 units on it. Mm-hmm. Our main office that we work out of, there's a back office, an event space office, and then a house in the front. Right. And so with the total income, not including this office, but with the total income from the other 3 units, it pays for itself and profits me like $2,000 a month.
So you cash flow every month.
So I cash flow, and I work here for free.
Right.
So
not a bad deal.
Yeah. So I started reinvesting money back into this place because it was dilapidated, like you said. I wanted it to be a showpiece on the boulevard. I wanted people to be like, "The heck is that place? Yeah. That place is rad looking. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be here."
And mission accomplished. This place is gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's really, really is.
So we set a really good curb appeal on it, and kind of, I don't know, it's got a country feel to it. Inside it definitely does, but it kind of has more of like that Delmar Bluff look on the outside with the black and white trim. Yeah. But in the back, it was all gravel and dirt, and we just made really cool landscape moves. And since then, we've held multiple community events. We've had weddings here, and you name it. It gives us a huge opportunity, my team, a huge opportunity. Like, one of our agents having a cornhole tournament, this will be the 3rd one. And, he can raise money and donate it to charities and be a part of knowing people, getting his name out there, and people show up, they see the office, like, wow, this place is cool. And, it gives us now a place to do business differently. Because a lot of times in real estate, I was missing this in my own personal business. I wasn't doing enough for my clients. No client appreciation parties. Getting myself, like, yeah, I'll call them and text them, how you doing? Like, good, that's fun. But at a certain point, you want to be in front of them. You want to give them something to show them, like, your appreciation for them using you and doing business with you. And so we got really involved in doing community events, which we kind of overlapped it with the community. So now we're kind of like this steeple place. People kind of keep an eye open for the things that we have coming up.
Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah. We had a community event here one time, and it was a charity event for there's a family there that has 2 kids with cancer. And it was a horrible, horrible thing. And somebody came to us like, hey, can you think of something for us? Like, dude, we'll do it back here. Yeah. I don't care, but we're gonna run it beyond their rules, and we're just gonna get this. We're gonna throw this big auction off. And that day we were really we were really worried about, it was raining, like nobody's going to come to this thing. So, throughout that day, we ended up having like 1,000 people show up, and we raised $90,000 in 6 hours for this family, which was amazing.
That's awesome.
So this place has made a huge impact within like a year and a half of us doing stuff out of it, and we've just begun.
Cool.
So
that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you. I'm thoroughly impressed with this place. I told you that. I love what you've done with it. I love the fact that you've improved the area, right? And you stayed true to the Alpine theme. Like you stayed true to the real character that this town has. And I just love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. I actually, on the way in here, got to see your event space and met Tanya, and it's really cool. It's legit, man.
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
We love it.
So we're up to today. We're in this great facility that you built. You're off and running, doing your thing, successful real estate business. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything else going on?
I guess, I'm a busy guy. Like, I have 5 kids. I know you guys hear this a lot, but don't ever let anybody tell you you can't do it.
Yeah.
I have a 0 quit policy in my house. So if you start something, you have to finish it. You have to commit to it. You have to do it right. You have to do it your best to your own ability. Otherwise, that's probably where you will see a negative impact on something, is when you don't do it your best.
Yeah.
And the positive side of that is that you're going to learn not to do it again.
Yeah.
So for me,
standards.
Yeah.
It's standards.
For me, you can successfully run and operate a business, have a big family, and be happy and not stress out.
Yeah.
If you
design it right.
Yeah. So, I think and another thing I'll tie back into it, relationships are super important. And I start mine with God every single day.
That's cool, man.
So
that's cool. Well, thanks again for doing this. It's been awesome. I've loved every second of it. And thanks again for working with us. My phone was dead earlier, so we actually ended up cutting it up for a little bit off camera and off air. Thanks for doing that with me. I appreciate it. Yep. And it's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out Calendly.com/Rio760.